Lance here, and we're going to do another brief history. And today we're going to look at L7. So, brief history of L7. Before we get going, I absolutely love this band. My other half got me onto this band. I'd never heard of them until a few years ago, and she bought a CD. For those of you that don't know, a CD it's a round thing that you put into like a CD player, and it plays the CD. You've got to press play. Sometimes you get a remote. It's awesome, and it projects sound through speakers. It's brilliant. It's cool, retro, sort of. Anyways, so yeah, and I was absolutely blown away. I thought they were mint, and then I went to my mates, "Have you heard this band?" And they were like, "Yeah, like so, totally 10 years ago." Okay, cool. So, and I've never seen any sort of anything like this done on them, so I'm going to do one because I think they're class and they're mint. So, how did it all come to fruition? How did it all happen? Well, they formed in 1985 by Donita Sparks when she met Susie Gardner, based out in LA. They met at a party, I believe. Kind of got together. They both played in bands. One was a poet as well. And started talking about demos, and they got really excited by hearing each other playing each other's stuff, and it was really cool. So they thought it'd be awesome to make a band, as you do, because that's what you do, it's class. Then they went out and started piecing the band together as they were putting tunes together. They recruited Jennifer Finch on bass in 1986 and Annie Anderson on the drums. That was the original lineup for L7. That was all done by 1986. So the first two, Donita and Susie, got together in 85, started writing, and then put the call out, got the lineup all sorted out, squared away by 1986, and they then began to write their debut album, which was released in 1987 on Epitaph Records. It's quite a big label out there in California. It's a really good deal. A lot of punk rock goes on that label. When the band started out, they were very much a punk rock band. That was it. That was what they did. Very good at it. They never used to get overly political with this stuff, and they always had an element of sarcasm and humour in not only the lyrics and the delivery of the lyrics, but the way that they played and wrote the music as well. It had that element of sarcasm in it. And if you listen to the really early stuff, the first album, which is self-titled, the beginnings of it definitely there. Annie Anderson decided to pack up and leave. So she bounces, she's off. They then get in D on the drums, and that is what is perceived as the classic lineup for L7, which is what we love and what we like. 89, the band then moved on. Sub Pop Records, yes, Sub Pop, based out in Seattle. They did a single on Sub Pop, and then they went to release Smell the Magic, which is regarded as the kind of big breakthrough album. At the time as well, that was the grunge movement underground was really starting to make a lot of waves. You had that alternative circuit down the East Coast that was made up, and they came in just around the time that everything was kind of on the up and really starting to make some waves on the underground. Although the hair metal and glam rock and glam metal wasn't quite dead, it was kind of at the height of where it was going to be, and then it was going to get shot down. They went out with a lot of the grunge bands. Played with a lot of the grunge bands that you know and love. Got to meet them all. They were known as like as the grunge ladies, you know, as the female grunge band. They got put into the whole Riot Girl movement as well. I think they only got put into that because they were females. They didn't particularly like being categorized as a Riot Girl band. Riot Girl's a whole different conversation that we're gonna have at another point in time, because it's a really very interesting piece of musical history that I'm quite into, that I really dig. Some really good bands come out of that. And although they didn't really particularly associate themselves with the movement, they were embedded in it, and you know, it was kind of a give and take relationship that they had with it. They went out with Smell the Magic. They did a lot of tours with that. In 1990, they actually went out with Nirvana on tour. They came to the UK, which is pretty cool. They were a really hard working touring band, especially really hard. From what I've read, they felt that because there were 4 females in the band, that they had to work twice as hard as the men, which shouldn't really have to. But it paid dividends because they got a huge following, a huge underground following, from all the graft that they put in. It's pretty cool. So in 1991, they signed with Slash Records. They got a major label deal due to all of the touring that they've done, all the graft they put in, and the success that they had on the Sub Pop. They were able to score a major label deal. Big thing for them. And they were also able to organise the Rockford Choice charity gigs, which helped raise funds to cover legal expenses for the prolonged anti-abortion violence and women's centre bombings that happened in the 1980s and in the 1990s. So they were able to put on a selection of gigs all over the place, headlined by loads of really cool artists. It's a really good read if you go into the old Google machine and type in Rockford Choice. You'll see the amount of top draw bands that they had play at those gigs, and it was a real big thing for them to do, and it was a really cool and great thing for them to do as well. Raise a lot of money, raise a lot of awareness for a band that had got to that level, signed a major label deal, and you know, they go out and do this straight away. It's really cool, great thing to do. Real bringing a music community together to raise funds for a truly great cause. So that was 1991, which leads us on to Bricks Are Heavy in 1992. Bricks Are Heavy, I mentioned earlier on, this is the first L7 album that I heard. It's pretty good. We like it a lot. It was produced with Butch Vig. It came out really kind of in the thick of grunge, you know. There was a lot of good albums coming out at this period of time, and this is an album that totally didn't get lost in the mix. It was an absolutely banging album. It really was. They took a noticeably heavier tone for this album as well. When you listen to the first 2 albums as opposed to this, you can hear that they've taken a real big metal influence. I feel they've taken that sort of Alice in Chains tone and kind of the riffage, and meshed it together with what they were doing, and worked absolutely perfect. It was like a big massive concoction, and bricks are heavy. It's beautiful. We love it. It's got some great singles on there. Watergasm, excellent tune. And it's got the biggest single on it, Pretend That We're Dead, which was a really cool music video. This is also the tune and the album that got them really heavy rotation on MTV. MTV during the 80s and the 90s was a big deal if you wanted to really sell your albums and your singles and your band in general. If you can get them on MTV, you're in good stead. And they got heavy rotation on MTV, especially with Pretend That We're Dead. It's a really cool tune. It really does sum up what I said about them earlier on, that the music and the lyrics are very sarcastic, incredibly sarcastic, and it's perfectly brought out in that tune. They did a lot of touring with this, massive touring all over the world. They toured this album to the max. They really did. Also, during this point in time, they had a couple of incidents, shall we say. So, incidents that they had were at Reading Festival. Donita Sparks, the band were running late for their set at Reading, I believe it was, and she, in a rage because the crowd got a bit arsey, a bit dicky, shall we say, started hurling a bit of abuse. So Donita Sparks, in her infinite wisdom, took a tampon off and chucked it in the audience and yelled at them, "Eat my tampon, fuckers." Amazing. Pretty gross. It's regarded as one of the most disgusting pieces of rock memorabilia you can get your hands on if you actually got it. I don't know who got it. Did someone keep it? I don't know. Pretty weird if they did, to be honest, but it is weird, isn't it? Super fans and all that jazz. Yeah. And then also there was, again, Donita going nude on live TV on Channel 4, again in the UK. It's a theme with the UK, this. The rock and roll incidents happened in the UK. There was a lot of debauchery going on this music show that they were going to be performing on. So again, her infinite wisdom decided to contribute to that. So she stripped off from the waist down and went and played on live TV with no trousers, no pants. I think she had some socks and shoes on though. Some at least. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Again, yeah. I mean, the Chili Peppers went out and played gigs naked. Yeah, so pretty cool. Awesome stuff. There you go. The rock and roll incidents of L7, and they're pretty cool. They're up there with some of the best, in my opinion. So 1996, The Beauty Process. Great album, banging album, as I've said. I would highly recommend you go check this album out. If you're going to look at an L7 album first, this would be the first one I go check out, which may upset a lot of the hardcore fans out there. But I'm sticking to that. I'm right, you're wrong. Is what it is. Yeah, go check out The Beauty Process. It's a really good album. It's one of my favourite albums. It's Walter from beginning to end. It's just a great listen all the way through. And that was a great run of albums as well. The three major label albums as a trilogy were incredibly consistent, and they were at a very high level. They churned out three absolute top class albums in succession as well, and it was write, record, tour, write, record, tour for years, you know, from 92 all the way to 96. That was the process that they did. Didn't really take a break. In all honesty, that's probably one of the reasons why old Jenny decided to leave. It's a very good chance that she'd burn out, because, you know, that was from 92 on a major label. They'd been smashing it way before then as well. You know, you got to take a break sometimes. But she was replaced by Gail Greenwood, who did a good job, solid bass player, by all accounts. And they delivered a great album, to be fair. Yeah, they then decided to have a bad run of luck. The beauty process didn't do the numbers financially on sales that the label wanted it to, and they consequently were then dropped from the label whilst they were on tour supporting Kiss. Could have been on a reunion tour or a farewell tour. It's Kiss, who knows? Every tour they've done has been a farewell or a reunion tour. Kiss, you know. Yeah. So they got dropped whilst they're on tour with Kiss, which was the beginning of the end for L7 at this point in time. They kind of dropped off the radar after that tour. They had no support behind them at all. They just, when I say they got dropped, I mean they literally fell off a cliff and they had nothing. And they went to record their follow-up album. They made their own record label and sunk all of their pennies or cents into the follow-up album, Slap Happy, and that really didn't fare too well. The single off it was really good, but the rest of the album not anywhere near what was produced prior. And again, I think the combination of burnout, various different health issues, rumoured alcohol issues, and the fact that they'd not had a break for years contributed to the quality of that album, I feel. And they just kind of imploded, really. And then they weren't gigging, they weren't playing. They actually flew a banner over the Warped Tour with an aeroplane saying Warped Tour need more Beaver. Love L7. Pretty cool, very tongue-in-cheek, very L7. And then they quietly disbanded in 2001. They went on a hiatus. They went their separate ways, and they didn't speak for years. From 2001 to 2013, 2014, they didn't speak at all. Bearing in mind that two of them live around the corner from each other in LA, they didn't speak. They went off and did side projects. They looked after various bits of personal business. It was a very, very difficult time. But one of the members, they looked after their mother for quite a while, and they didn't actually touch their guitar. None of them didn't touch any of the musical instruments that they'd had. Just chucked them under a bed. Didn't touch them. Yeah, that was, I believe that was Donita, I believe. Don't quote me. But yeah, they didn't do anything. And then basically they there was a bit of interest online on the resurrection of the band. Some feelers went out, and there was a lot of positive feedback, a lot of good response for it. So phone calls were made, bridges were mended that didn't take too long to mend, because there wasn't any issues within the band. There was no massive internal conflict. It's not like they went shagging each other's husbands, really. You know, it's they needed a break. Once they'd had those initial telephone conversations and spoke to each other, everything was hunky-dory. The actual idea of them actually becoming a band again was never actually, it wasn't the prominent reason for them getting back together and for making contact again, which is a really beautiful thing. The band was based on friendship, and that's what that band is at its core. It's a friendship between four mates. And when they broke up, they had a bit of a Benny, they mended bridges, and that was kind of it. And then the snowball effect happened online of people wanting this band back. So they then decided, let's do it, and they then wanted to do it again. And you've got to want to do it, and they did. Which leads us on to the final phase. So, 2014 rolls around. Reunion. It's amazing. They managed to raise a huge amount of money for a documentary on them, which is absolutely astounding. It's a lot better than what I've done, because it's done by the band. In their own words, it's called Pretend That We're Dead, I think. It's absolutely right. It's a really good documentary. If you want to learn more about the band, I suggest you go check it out. It's very, very good. You can pick it up on DVD, Blu-ray. I think it's on Hulu, whatever it is. Don't know. It's brilliant. Go check it out. And off the back of that, they went out and then toured the world 3 times over. And have since released new material, and they're in a very, very good place. They're, by all accounts, all really, really happy with how things have panned out with them, and are very, very, very happy with their position within the history of music and where they stood in the genres of music that the band slipped into. You know. They're still gigging about, they're still touring, still doing bits and bobs. They're writing and releasing music now. They're trying to get their mojo back, which is cool. So yeah, there you go. A brief history of L7. They went from nothing to right to the top, to everything, to nothing, to back. Right smack bang in the middle, where they want to be, nice and happy, living the dream, by the beach, in the sun, with the surf and all that jazz, innit? So, there you go. It's a brief history on L7. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, which will be a brief history of, I don't know, who knows? It could be off air band, it couldn't be, who knows? If you're one of mine. So, see you in the next one.